We're back and we're here, MadeForMums are here talking about all the parenting stories that we've been finding have been causing lots of consternation, lots of discussion, the topics we kind of love to hate sometimes, the ones we argue over, and we're just going to give you a rundown. We're going to talk about some of these things and we'd love you to comment as well, because what we want to hear from MadeForMums is what you think. We're going to start with something that I think affects so many of us, and we can all share it here, around when your child has a tantrum. And this was a story that a blogger, a very established blogger called Constance Hall, actually talked about, because it's really when your child is having a full meltdown in public. The key thing is, you know, if you can, just ignore, but oh my God, how difficult that is. So what was her story?
Yeah, so that's just a typical picture, isn't it? They're fine at home, and then as soon as you get them out, it's not moving, not doing anything. So Constance Hall says she does nothing. Go. Absolutely nothing. And it's the kind of thing, we do it at home. If they're in the lounge and they have a full-on meltdown, you leave the lounge, you know, no audience, no show. But when we're out in public and our toddler has a meltdown, we decide, for all intents and purposes, that everyone in the world is watching what we're doing and that we need to tell them off and let them know there'll be trouble if they don't get up right now. And one mum just didn't do it. She just sat and let the child have a meltdown, which I think is brave.
I have no idea how I do it. The idea of just letting your child in public have a complete meltdown, and you know, I've certainly been there. In fact, having twins had a double power, because obviously one sets the other one off. There is no way I could have sat there and just done anything. Could you?
No, I couldn't. No, I couldn't do it. I mean, I know I'm doing it for the show of everybody around, because they're thinking I'm a terrible mother if I just sit there and let them do it. But no, I have to do the, you get up right now, you're going to be in trouble when you get home sort of thing, just because it's a show for everybody else, isn't it? So fair dues to the mum that did it.
Absolutely. So I think I go too much the other way. I'm so anxious to show stupidly other people looking and thinking I'm a rubbish mum because I'm not doing anything. So I tend to overdo it, do that thing, that loud parenting thing where you talk to other people as if you're talking to other people, but you're addressing your child. So you're kind of going, now Ben, we don't have tantrums in public, do we? It's not very polite. It's so noisy, other people can't hear themselves think, can they? And really, you're talking to everyone else.
I'm going to put my hand up here and go, who else does the whole, there's that comic over there, or there's those sweets. Maybe when you get home, if you're really good, you can have the chocolate, which is obviously what the experts say you shouldn't be doing, because you shouldn't be rewarding for that. But my God, is it difficult?
Yeah.
Really hard.
Yeah.
Really hard.
Yeah, I say fair dues to that. Mum might give it a go next time. See how it goes.
Yeah, well, we need to
pray for a distraction. You know, like mine was so obsessed with diggers and lorries and things, so that I used to kind of go, oh look, digger, even if there wasn't one. And sometimes that would work.
And can I just say, well, we've got boys, you know, there's still a part of me that if I walk down the road and there's roadworks going on, there's a part of me that wants to go, digger, even now, and my kids certainly wouldn't appreciate that. Well, I think one of the stories that actually was a really interesting one this week about Adele, because she's been so open. We know Adele is really honest. She's fantastic. She says it how it is. She really is honest. But she's been, we didn't know, I don't know if you knew that she'd had suffered from obviously quite severe postnatal depression, or it was significant for her. Again, Tara, can you tell us a little bit? I mean, she was just so open, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was really open. She said, she was talking about having another child, and she's actually said, I'm too scared to think about having another child. I had really bad postnatal depression after I had my son, and it frightened me. My knowledge of it is that you don't want to be with your child. You're worried that you might hurt your child, but I was obsessed with my child, so she obviously went the other way. And eventually, she says, I gave myself an afternoon a week just to do whatever I wanted without my baby. A friend of mine said, really, don't you feel guilty? But she said that if she hadn't taken that afternoon a week, she doesn't know what she would have done. So fair dues to Adele, because we've not had that in the past, a mum that's really honest and really open about these issues, and I think she's really giving other mums a platform to just be, you know, just say, oh yeah, I'm feeling like that too.
And I think we've seen a little bit, we've seen non-celebrity mums coming out and telling their story, and it's interesting, someone who's such a, you know, A-lister celeb, to be honest, and it is something that we know is so important, isn't it? And it's the hidden thing.
Yeah, so hidden. I would have loved Adele to have said that. Obviously she wouldn't have done, because she wouldn't have had her child then, but when I just had my second child, I felt like I was the only person in the world feeling miserable and a failure. It's very difficult. Not only you're having to cope with how you feel, but everyone else around you seems to be happy and coping brilliantly. So you pretend you are as well, and in fact you do. I can understand the obsessed comment, because you do more and more and more to try and prove to yourself and the world that you're coping okay, and you're not.
Yeah.
And you don't need much actually. Depends how bad it is, but you just need somebody to understand, someone you can talk to, and to hear somebody that famous admit to something that seems so shameful when you're in the middle of it is amazing. I really wish I said that when it was happening to me.
Absolutely. We hope that, you know, some of you Made-for-Mummers can come and share with us, because it is about getting it out there, and it is about being really honest, and no one's judging, certainly not on Made-for-Mums, and sometimes it just helps, doesn't it, to go, do you know what, I find it really, really tough, and I'm in this place at the moment, and just knowing there's one other person that you would not, that this is totally normal, and there's so many people
That's
going
what
through.
made the difference. It wasn't doctors and health visitors who brandish forms you have to fill in saying, you know, are you feeling suicidal, are you feeling really miserable?
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to be that much of a genius just to go no, because you don't want it to be taken officially.
No,
So you can easily spook the test. And so, yeah, just hearing one other person in real life or in celebrity life saying how it is or how it can be is really helpful.
No, I totally agree. And this is we want to talk about fireworks, because fireworks night is coming up. We've had Halloween, we're through that one, and now we're into fireworks. And I think it's fascinating, because I love fireworks. And so having children and fireworks, woohoo, it gives me the complete opportunity to go to as many firework displays as I possibly can fit in. Except that we went to a firework display, and the boys were probably about 4, maybe 5, but my daughter was a little bit older, and they hated it. And I literally remember standing there watching the fireworks going, look, it's, it's fantastic. Come on, it's fine. And they just cried, and in the end we had to go home. And
that made you
basically, I kind of survived, but I just think, you know, I don't know, is there a right age for taking a kid's fireworks? Because I think I definitely went a bit early.
I had Bodhi in a carrier, baby carrier, so she would have been a few months old when the first year we took her, and I think she had the ear muffs, but I'm sure she screamed her head off. I suspect she was probably freezing cold. And I think they're a little bit overrated. I mean, we did go to a display last night, but I think the thought of it is nice, but then it's freezing cold, the food's a bit dodgy, it's all a bit loud, there's usually a tantrum, and you wish you just stayed at home, put the telly on.
But it's
a
actually
tantrum as well, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I just did nothing.
They're very crowded, aren't they? And the kids, to be fair, you know, you're looking up here and you've got people's backs in your faces because they're little.
And it's probably the loudest thing they've heard ever.
I know. And I guess you should put the ear
I'd love to know from our mums if anyone's going, if people are still doing bonfire night and fireworks.
Any around us. They've stopped them because of health and safety and crowd safety. Because so many people can't.
Oh, right.
So if anyone's going, let us know. And let us know how you'll be doing it and how many layers you'll be putting on your child and the ear defenders.
And let's just have sparklers in the garden.
I know, but sparkler danger, you know. But sparklers are a bit scary, I think, just because, you know, little kids, they really can.
True, and they're kind of poking them in people's eyes.
And they go to pick up one that's dropped on the
incredibly
floor.
hot.
Yeah.
Incredibly hot. I mean, I can say having a husband who just loves fireworks more than I do. Now we have to have them at home, which obviously our kids are a little bit older, so it's
Video
not safe.
orchestrated
Display
display.
goes on for ages, and you know they're just not as good as the bit. See, I think you go to the proper displays because there's lots of money. They're fantastic. It's completely safe. Your cat doesn't have to cower in the corner, and you don't have to worry about other people's pets. That to me is the perfect prize.
Yeah.
But we shall see. But yeah, as you say, it'd be fantastic to find out what everyone else thinks. And we really want to know now about something. This is celebrities who are constantly, are they pregnant? And again, Tara, we couldn't believe this one.
Yeah, so we've got a picture of Taylor Swift pregnant with an arrow pointing to where she's quite obviously pregnant. And who's the dad? And of course it's got to be Calvin Harris. And we've seen this, Cheryl Cole's going through it, Tweedy Cole, whatever her name is going through it right now, and we've seen it with Jennifer Aniston. A celeb goes out, they've got a little bit of she's probably had a coma the night before, and suddenly she's pregnant. What do we think of this? This just goes on and on, doesn't it?
Oh, did my teeth to have a bump?
I know.
Now.
I know.
It is a media obsession. We're trying on MadeForMums to not get obsessed, but we can't not appreciate that people are saying these things, and it must be so tough. Because imagine if you're going out there and you're packed, and maybe you haven't got your best face on, but now it's like, have you got your best stomach on as well?
Spanks on, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And
if you are pregnant and you don't want anyone to know, which often you don't, do you, until you've had a scan and it's all okay. How awful it must be. You have to stay inside for 12 weeks.
Yes, yeah. And we know some celebs have managed to do it, and they've been incredibly secretive about their bump, and they've just revealed. Cheryl's playing it's a very interesting situation with Cheryl, isn't it, at the moment, because there's all sorts of stuff going on, and who knows, and I guess if she is pregnant, she'll tell us when she's ready.
It's up to her, isn't it?
Yeah,
but it is. Yeah, absolutely.
I put a fair bet that Taylor won't be wearing that dress again anytime
soon.
soon.
You spent ages getting ready, and think
quite
good.
No.
And then
There we go.
Now, at least we know how to pronounce Taylor Swift's name in this story. We were talking about a story earlier, which is so interesting. And this was something I think that, Tara, you'd actually gone online and tell us about it.
Yeah, so I'm booking for my family to go to visit Santa. And I was delighted. I nearly jumped out of my seat and cried, "Thank you so much," when I saw the field that said, how do you pronounce your child's name? I don't know if you can see that. Okay, how wonderful. Because my daughter has the most ridiculous name in the history of names. It's Bodhi, B-O-D-H-I, Ray, R-A-E, and the surname is Brannock, spelt in a strange Irish way. And we frequently go to the doctors, and we're listening out for the doctor to call the name, and we hear Bodhi Rai Breathnach, please come to reception. And I'm like, who is Bodhi Rai Breathnach? So the chance to have a field that says Bodhi Ray Brannock, so that Santa will get it right, was absolutely wonderful. I think it might be the best thing that's happened to me since Bodhi was born, actually. I was going to say this year, but I was so delighted to see that field. So there's no excuses, Santa, UK Lapland. It's right there. You're going to get that right this time.
But it's so brilliant, isn't it? Honestly, my 3 boys are called Ben, Tom and Ed, and they are called Ben, Tom and Ed because I chose them as names that you couldn't mispronounce and couldn't misspell.
I hadn't thought of
I have
that.
so many friends. But maybe they don't like being called Ben, Tom, I don't know. But I would have chosen something a bit more adventurous, I think. I'd had that.
So I'm thinking the other thing. I'm just wondering what kind of life we set our daughter up for when people are looking at that name and just thinking, who is this?
I think it's wonderful. It's wonderful to have an unusual name, isn't it?
It's wonderful if people get it right.
Yeah.
Which they don't 9 times out of 10. So more of these, please, on every form.
That's fantastic. And I guess it's just, we see so many names now, don't we, that are just slight differences to the standard.
Isn't it?
It is
stamp
lovely.
your individuality.
God
then
has
got to then pronounce every single time. Go, it's with an E.
Yeah,
not with an
and
A.
that's what we found on Facebook, didn't we? That MadeForMums were going, actually, this is brilliant. They loved it.
Absolutely, yeah.
On our Facebook.
Absolutely. So if you've got a child with an unusual name, do let us know,
Yeah.
and we'd love to know. how it's going, and how many of you would love to see that. Should be a compulsory field on every form, as far as I'm concerned.
And the weird pronunciations of your own child's name would be very interesting. I'd love to hear that.
Absolutely.
So we're going to finish today with a story, because when we go and have a look at various stories that we talked about on the web in the morning, and we have our morning meeting, and every so often, you know, we're kind of coming in the morning, getting up early and checking out the stories, and every so often there's a story and I might be on the train and I'm like welling up because it just gets you, and this was definitely for me one of those. Helen, tell us a little bit about this story.
No, this was about a little 9-year-old's birthday party, and he had been home educated, so he'd only just started in his school, and as a way of kind of breaking the ice, he invited all his classmates to his birthday party. I mean, hats off to Mum, actually, especially as Mum has just had a baby. So he's so excited, and he's running around the house really telling all his parents how excited he is. The mother hadn't actually checked who was coming. She just kind of assumed people didn't really RSVP anymore, that just people just come. And nobody came. Nobody came to this little boy's party. And it just made us weep, didn't it? It made us think, all of us need to make a point of RSVP.
Yes.
It's annoying, and sometimes you can't find how to do it, but we've all got to try a bit harder, haven't we? Because we don't want that to be our child.
No, and I do know, you know, of children where, well, I had a situation with one of my boy's friends where it was a boy who was quite difficult, and he sent out invites, and because he was quite difficult, people just didn't go, and I think 3 people went out the whole class, and it was just awful, and it wasn't like other people's parties, and it didn't have bouncy castles and entertainers and party bags. It was just basically going around to his house, and the whole thing. And I just think that poor child, because he knew, but in fact he hardly ever came to anyone else's party, because quite often they lived a little bit away, so it required a lift, and maybe that wasn't forthcoming. And I just thought that is so sad. It just breaks my heart, really, because I think children who are isolated, and we do hear these stories, don't we? Maybe autistic children who are a little bit different, who just don't get the friends in the same way. And it doesn't have to be a child who's different. It doesn't have to be a child with a particular need or who's that different. It can just be a child who finds it a bit harder to make friends. And there's nothing worse. I've been through that in the playground when you see your child and they're standing on their own and everyone else is kind of over there, and your child then tries to get into the big group and they just sort of almost turn their back, and you just think, oh no. But all I'd say is as they've got older, it's kind of worked out okay in the end. But boy,
it's an interesting thing. I mean, I get that people, well, I'm surprised at people who don't RSVP when they are coming.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess I understand maybe the embarrassment about your child's not going for whatever reason. You don't want them to, you can't go. And maybe you're embarrassed to say no. I don't know what it is. Maybe people don't say no.
Yeah, maybe that's right. It's easier just not to say anything.
And assume that unless you said yes, the parent would think you won't, they'd know you won't come.
Mm.
RSVP means tell me if you're coming, which it doesn't, does it? It just says please
tell
reply.
me. Yeah,
It's maybe it's because it's RSVP, maybe you need to write tell me if you can come or not, or something.
Well, I mean, I did for my daughter's one party, and I don't think I'll be doing another, but I just did text yes or no to this number.
That's good. And did you get 100%?
I think I did. I knew exactly who was coming and exactly who wasn't. But she's an August child, so she's a summer girl. So yes, and going forward, I think my plan is to have a core group of family that I know will be there because they're family, and then any extras is a bonus. Because to me, this whole party thing is an absolute minefield. It just sounds so much. The payoff of the good stuff, I'm not sure, is outweighing all the bad stuff that I'm hearing right now.
Yeah, you see, but I'm in a way, I just love the parties.
Oh, you love the parties and the fireworks?
I love the parties. I like the little parties. But I just, to me, and I like making the birthday cake, and that was a big thing. And in a way, maybe because I was working a lot of the time as well, and it was like giving a real day to the kids, and we'd have all the friends round, and having twins as well, we have all the twins' families round. and I did that religiously every year, and then I kind of got into that little spiral of, you know, perhaps there was a bit of, dare I say it, competitiveness about, you know, is it a good enough party? You have to do something different each year. And I remember doing these amazing party bags, there's enough good stuff in there. The party bags the night before, lining them all up.
So the parties are about the parents, aren't they? Because I'm not competitive.
They can
I
be.
couldn't care about the parties. I don't like parties myself.
Okay, I've been.
It would be really interesting to
But I
know
love
from
your
our mums.
yes, no idea, because that gives
Yeah,
people
no.
permission just to go no and not
I've
have to
just
give an
heard
excuse.
enough to decide that I'm
Yeah.
not sure I want to jump
You don't
into
have
that pool, to be honest.
Well, I think what we want to know is from our Made for Mamas, do you always reply to party invites? Do you, you know, is that an important thing, or do you just assume like 2/3 of the people are going to come, and if they come, they do, and if not? Because let's, you know, we'll kind of talk to you a bit more about that. I think we're now at a point where, you know, we've probably talked about all our stories, so thank you very much for watching, and we'll be back next week with some more. Cheers.